Let us continue with our program now and recognize the additional scholarship winner and awardees. I'll be announcing each of the winners, and yes, there are rules to go along with this portion of the evening. Listen up. If you can refrain from clapping until after, okay guys, at least let me get through the joke. Until after I have completed announcing the award, providing the background, and describing the awardees' accomplishments, we may be able to get to the hospitality suites faster. Talk about motivation. And remember, you're not on mute. Okay, here we go. The Olin E. Teague Memorial Scholarship of $4,000 is awarded to an outstanding high school student who intends to pursue higher education in science and technology. This year's recipient, Miss Nicolina Buccelli. Joining us from New Baltimore, Michigan, Miss Buccelli, a high school senior, did I get that right, Nicolina? Yes. Okay, great. It's not written correctly in here. At International Academy of Macomb, is recognized for her research project, which analyzed the effects of changing aspect ratios on critical angle of attack on airfoils. Ms. Buccelli, not only a National Honor Society president and Merit Scholarship commended student, but also a solo pilot who flies Cessna 172s. Not too bad. She's earned leadership roles, won several awards and endorsements related to flight and aerospace education, including from the U.S. Space and Rocket Center's Aviation Challenge Camp and the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary, to name a few. Ms. Buccelli plans to pursue an aerospace engineering degree as well as a career as a test pilot in the U.S. Coast Guard. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Nicolina Buccelli. Thank you. Now to the awards. These awardees were nominated and selected by peers and leaders in their respective fields of their expertise. Honoring the first director of the National Reconnaissance Office, the Dr. Joseph V. Charyk Award recognizes individuals who have made outstanding contributions to the National Intelligence Space Program, specifically in support of the mission of the NRO. This year's award goes to 3 individuals: Dr. Eleanor Silverman, and Mr. Brett Scott of the NRO, and Colonel Erich Hernandez-Baquero of the U.S. Space Force. Dr. Silverman, Mr. Scott, and Colonel HB are recognized for their extensive contributions to the intelligence community and the Department of Defense. They led over 800 personnel acquiring intelligence, satellite, and ground systems that multiplied our nation's overhead imaging capacity by 100-fold. This ushered in a near real-time automated intelligence tasking, collection, and exploitation on a global scale, as well as closed nearly 50% of the current nation's imagery intelligence gaps. It's impressive. Their distinctive accomplishments reshaped the landscape of national security space, ensuring delivery of critical future warfighting capabilities. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Eleanor Silverman, Mr. Brett Scott, and Colonel Erich Hernandez-Baquero. The NOAA David Johnson Award recognizes the achievements of young professionals who have shown outstanding innovation in the use of satellite data for operational environmental applications. This year's award is presented to Dr. Dalia Kirschbaum. Dr. Kirschbaum serves as Chief of Hydrological Sciences at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center. She is recognized for pioneering the use of satellite precipitation and remote sensing data for landslide hazard assessment. By developing the only global landslide nowcasting tool and innovative landslide mapping approach, her work provides rapid situational awareness, specifically in remote and developing parts of the world where it is most needed. Dr. Kirschbaum is leading international efforts to encourage open sharing of landslide data to enhance access to satellite imagery and technologies for landslide mapping. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Dalia Kirschbaum. The Space Club Educator Award was established to recognize the importance of teachers in motivating and guiding students. This year, we present this award to Mr. Frederick Herrmann. Mr. Herrmann, an educator and the director of the Astronautics in Space program at Makualani Christian Academy in Kailua Kona, Hawaii, is recognized for his creativity and dedication as a career space educator who engages, inspires, and educates students about the space frontier. That's pretty important. Mr. Herrmann, a prime example of a phenomenal space educator, provides research opportunities and career guidance to create the next generation of space professionals. Thanks for doing that. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Frederick Herrmann. The newly coined Norman L. Baker Astronautics Engineer Award is presented annually in recognition of an aerospace engineer who has made outstanding contributions to the National Space Program in the field of engineering or engineering management. Tonight we honor Mr. Michael Ryschkewitsch. Mr. Ryschkewitsch, the Space Exploration Sector Head at Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab, is recognized for a distinguished career of contributions to the space program. While he's held key roles at NASA, starting with the Goddard Space Flight Center, and that ended with him serving as the agency chief engineer, Mr. Ryschkewitsch always demonstrated an unparalleled commitment to engineering excellence and mission success. Success is demonstrated by the achievements of the Parker Solar Probe and, went over there, the recent double asteroid redirect test mission. You know, Mike, I was talking to Mike earlier and I was telling him, I feel a kinship to this awardee. Years ago, I spent a weekend as an extra on the set of the asteroid thriller, Deep Impact. I really did. It seems I was destined to present you with this award. Thank you for your real-world efforts to take on an asteroid and advance space exploration. I think I can speak for all of us on Earth and express our worldwide appreciation with the coveted Norman L. Baker Astronautics Engineering Award. The Nation Space Club Press Award recognizes sustained, decades-long excellence in journalism that has both supported and underscored the importance of our nation's endeavors in space. This year, we acknowledge reporter, producer, and author from the Washington Post, Mr. Christian Davenport. Mr. Davenport is recognized for elevating space to a national level conversation and reaching diverse audiences. While he is best known for his reporting on NASA and the space industry at the Washington Post, Mr. Davenport is also an author, an Emmy award-winning producer, and the co-host of several documentary series. His work with the Washington Post, the Discovery and Science channels, reaches audience beyond the space community. This award recognizes Mr. Davenport's commitment to excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Christian Davenport. The Nelson P. Jackson Aerospace Award is presented to a government industry team that has worked together during the preceding year to make an outstanding contribution to the missile, aircraft, or space field. Please join me in congratulating the Center for Near-Earth Object Studies team for the Sentry 2 asteroid monitoring system. Love asteroids. The team is represented on stage by senior research scientist at NASA JPL, Dr. Steve Chesley. Sentry 2, NASA's new asteroid monitoring system, managed by JPL's Center for Near-Earth Object Studies team, went live on December 7, 2021. The system improves the capabilities of the team to assess the impact of asteroids that can come close to the Earth. Sentry 2 will use sophisticated impact monitoring software to automatically calculate impact risk in collaboration with powerful survey telescope sensors that continually scan the night sky. You could say this deep impact is further strengthening our planet defense. This team's deep impact is further strengthening our planetary defense capabilities. Sorry, I couldn't resist that. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Steve Chesley. Thanks, Steve. The Eagle Man Mission Award was established in 1984 through a gift to the National Space Club Foundation. This gift honors the heroism and achievements of the STS Mission 51A astronauts in recovering 2 failed satellites. Tonight we honor Mr. Stephen Sullivan from NASA and Mr. Stuart Keech and Mr. Balachandar Ramamurthy of SpaceX. I knew that was going to happen. These gentlemen contributed immeasurably to the return of U.S. human spaceflight capabilities to the International Space Station. All 3 awardees held critical roles on the Dragon main parachute and ascent abort engines systems, the Falcon 9 automated flight termination system, and the composite overwrap pressure vessel redesign following a major launch vehicle failure. Their expertise and team leadership led to the success of the first crewed Falcon 9 launch to our incredible orbiting laboratory, where people have been living and working for more than 21 years. Longer than Parker's been alive. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Stephen Sullivan, Mr. Stuart Keech, and Mr. Balachandar Ramamurthy. The General Bernard Schriever Award honors the father of Air Force's space and missile programs. The award highlights excellence in military space operations and acquisition. Tonight we recognize Lieutenant Colonel Kathleen Sullivan, Material Leader of the Enhanced Space Capabilities Program of the Air Force Rapid Capabilities Office. Lieutenant Colonel Sullivan is recognized for leading development of 2 of the nation's most important capabilities to the United States Space Force. She delivered a critical architecture that satisfies the needs of the U.S. Space Command Integrated Priorities List, the results of which laid the groundwork for a $25 billion space enterprise. Oof. Additionally, Lieutenant Colonel Sullivan drove a groundbreaking initiative through the Department of Defense and National Security Council to help introduce the first major space policy of its kind in over 12 years. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Colonel Kathleen Sullivan. Okay, last but not least, our highest honor of the night and the namesake of this dinner, the Goddard Memorial Trophy. We have the opportunity to honor a whole team of individuals for their exceptional service to our country and its space program. This year's Goddard Memorial Trophy winner is NASA's Ingenuity Mars helicopter team, represented here tonight by NASA's Solar System Exploration Program Executive, Mr. Dave Lavery. NASA's Ingenuity Mars helicopter team is recognized for an exciting new phase of space and planetary exploration. Ingenuity demonstrated a powered, controlled flight on another world for the first time after hitching a ride to Mars on the Perseverance rover. Once Perseverance reached a suitable airfield location, it released Ingenuity onto the planet's surface so it could perform a series of test flights over a 30 Martian day experimental window. The helicopter completed its technology demonstration after 3 successful flights. During its first flight on April 19, 2021, Ingenuity took off, climbed to about 10 feet above the surface of another planet, hovered briefly, completed a turn, and then landed. It was a major milestone, the first powered controlled flight in the extremely thin atmosphere of Mars, and in fact, the first such flight in any world beyond Earth. Since then, the helicopter successfully performed additional experimental flights of incrementally farther distances and greater altitudes. With its tech demo complete, Ingenuity transitioned to a new operations demonstration phase to explore how future rovers and aerial explorers can work together. On December 5th, 2021, Ingenuity had logged over 30 total flight minutes, contributing valuable aerial scouting imagery of rocky outcrops and other geological features of interest to the Perseverance rover science team. I'm delighted tonight to present the 2022 Goddard Memorial Trophy to Mr. Dave Lavery of NASA's Ingenuity Mars helicopter team.
That thing is really heavy. It's also not fair that you're making me talk after Parker. "25 years ago this summer, the Sojourner rover landed on Mars and set a precedent for a whole new way of doing technology development and experiments that NASA hadn't done before. This little tiny rover was put together by a very small group at the Jet Propulsion Lab that were very, very tightly integrated in the true embodiment of a skunkworks arrangement. It was designed as a tech demo. It wasn't part of the science mission or part of the science goals of the mission with Mars Pathfinder. It was added on late in the process, and to be honest, as a result of that, the primary mission didn't want it there. It was over their objections that we stuck it on. It was very high risk, no guarantee it was going to work, but very high payoff. If it worked, it had the potential for changing our entire paradigm for exploration on other planets. It was something brand new that truly had never been tried before. And as we all know now, 25 years later, it was incredibly successful at what it did. About 20 years after that success, a small part of the same group got together and basically said, we need to do something like that again. It's time to do another really exciting tech demo that has the potential to change how we explore. But what are we going to do this time? We've been kicking around ideas for aircraft on Mars for quite a while. The concept wasn't really new, but we had never had the technology advanced enough to say that we actually think we can do it. So this group got together and said, we think maybe it's finally time. Let's take a shot at it. So what are we going to do? Well, we could do a balloon. Nah, that's too easy. We could do an aerostat. Too easy. We could do an aircraft, fixed-wing aircraft. Nah, that's too easy. Let's find the most difficult aircraft that is possible to build, and let's do that. and send it to Mars. So shortly after that, Howard Eisen, one of the original Sojourner team members, and I and Mimi Yong, the project manager for what became Ingenuity, were sitting in Mimi's office saying, the only way we're going to get this to work, the only way that this is going to be possible, is we have to recreate what we did with Sojourner. We need to build a team the same way. We need to learn the lessons, again, that we learned during Sojourner and redefine and recreate that experience. And we had to ask ourselves, who is going to take on something that crazy? Well, it turns out there was a whole group of people who were willing to do it. And that's really the core of the whole message up here. This whole thing really was a very big team effort. It was not one person. It was not even 2 or 3 people. But it was a very small, tightly knit, well-integrated group, all co-located together as they developed the system, who were able to pull this off. A couple of them are here tonight, and a couple of them I want to recognize that are both here and not here, and a few names I just want to mention really quickly. Teddy Zanetos, the project manager. Karen Lee, flight project systems manager, engineer. Havard Grip, the GNC lead and pilot for Ingenuity, who, by the way, for all the aircraft geeks out there, Havard has the coolest flight logbook of anybody on this planet. Jaco Karras, the ops chief engineer. Farah Halibay, the rover ops lead. Mike Pokin, the thermal lead. Mimi Ong, the project manager. Bob Ballaram, the chief engineer. Tim Canham, software lead. Josh Ravis, mechanical lead. And all of the members of their families and their partners. If you guys are here, would you please stand to be recognized? And in particular, I do want to call out the members of the families who've supported us. One of the things that's been so unique about this project is, as you all know, we've had to operate the aircraft the entire time in the context of the pandemic. We weren't able to be co-located at JPL during the prime operations. We were basically flying a helicopter on another planet from our dining room tables at home. Think about that for a while. And for all of our family members who put up with it, at 3 o'clock in the morning as we were on downlink calls, we thank you. I do want to tell just a very quick story and why I get to be up here right now representing the group. One of the things that was unusual about this, and for those of you who have been around the space game, and in particular the NASA game for a while, you'll understand how unusual this was. They let one of the headquarters guys participate and really be a team member. I got integrated in with the team very early on, all through the development of the process, creation of the hardware, the test that took place in the vacuum chambers at JPL, and then eventually with the operations team. And I fully recognize how unusual that was. And I remember fairly early on in the process, being kind of worried about some backroom conversations that were probably happening within the rest of the team about, hey, we got this headquarters guy here, what are we going to do with him? And how are we going to keep him out of the way and keep him from mucking stuff up? But fortunately, Tim Canham, who's the software lead, came to me just as we were getting ready to start operations. He said, look, I've got something I actually really need you to take on in this whole process. There's a certain parameter associated with the flight dynamics that we need to watch very carefully. And unfortunately, it's something that we can't characterize consistently, but it's a couple of things that go together, and certain patterns happen where it might trip and it might not. And what we need you to do is every time we have a downlink discussion, which is this very long, technical, highly technical conversation looking at every single downlink to assess how the flight went, every time we have one of those conversations and the team's all together, I need you to sit and go through the EVR report, the event report, which is this many hundreds of lines of detailed technical code reporting what the helicopter had done during the flight. I need you to go through the EVR report, and by the end of the downlink meeting, while the rest of us are working this stuff over here, I need you to go through, and I'm going to write a special software interface for you. And you're going to see this certain sequence of events happen maybe 3 or 4 times per flight, and I need you to log each one of them. And every time you come across it, write down the line number where it happened, and I'm going to have a green button I'm going to create on the interface, and push the green button each time this happens. And so very dutifully, during every downlink discussion, while the rest of the team is embroiled in the depths of the technical back and forth, I sat there and read the EVR report, and I pushed the green button. And at the end of each discussion, Tim would sort of pop his head up, and he'd look through the virtual network interface, and he'd look over at me, and I'd sit there and I'd go 3 or 2, or maybe there were 4, and I'd push the green button one last time. And Tim would look back and go. And this went on for many flights, and it kept me really busy. And I think it was about flight number 14, Bob Balaram sort of saw what I was doing off in my corner, pushing the green button. And he asked me, what are you doing? And I explained it. And he looked at me and said, dude, every time you do that, you turn off the lights in my office. Please stop. But they finally found something that was appropriate for a headquarters guy to do. So while they kept me busy with the green button, Ingenuity was clocking up a whole bunch of successes. In the tradition of all the Mars rovers, Ingenuity has outperformed what it was originally committed to do. And I'm kind of hesitant to give you some of these numbers because realistically they're good through tonight, but we have flight number 22 scheduled for this weekend, and these numbers will change after the weekend. But currently, as of tonight, we have flown 21 times out of an original goal of 3 to 5. We have flown a total of 4,646 meters versus an original goal of 50 meters across ground track. Altitudes of 12 meters above the surface of Mars when the original goal was 5. And we've racked up a total of 38.8 minutes of flight time versus the original goal of 3 to 5 minutes. And we're not done yet. Following in the tracks of Sojourner, our goal for this project is to create a new way of exploring the surface of planets, to create a new paradigm for discovery, to basically create a resource that, just like Sojourner was the first rover to traverse the surface of the planet, and thereafter almost every surface mission started asking for a rover as a standard piece of equipment for the mission. We hope that after the success of Ingenuity and what she's been able to demonstrate, that every future mission will have an opportunity to ask for an aircraft to work with the surface systems and look ahead to scout, to retrieve samples, to get into regions that the rovers just can't get to. All it's going to take is a team that's going to be convinced that they can do it, like the Sojourner team was, like the Ingenuity team is. I'm going to wrap up with a quote from one of our inspirations on the team, Wilbur Wright. What one man can do himself, if directly, is but little. If, however, he can stir up 10 others to take up the task, he has accomplished much. I'm fortunate tonight to be able to represent a group that can say, we wish to accomplish much. We wish to dare mighty things, and we want all of you to come along with us, back to Mars and beyond. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. It's an honor to have you here representing the Mars Ingenuity team. It's a pretty awesome group of individuals up here tonight.